Bob Ferguson, welcome to the show. Hey, listen, tell us a little bit more about your business, yourself, and your unique hobby that coaching has given you the freedom to pursue.
Okay, so I own a lighting inverter business. I won't bore you with the details of that, but it's highly in need. We sell nationally in the US here through 42 sales reps. I've worked here for over 25 years, but I bought the business 3.5 years ago. Joined after a year of running it myself, ran into all the challenges that an entrepreneur runs into that I did not see coming because I thought, hey, I ran the company for so long, I know what I'm doing. But after a year, I took a chance, went down to a mastermind in Cancun, and the rest is history. 2.5 years later, I went from our largest year ever in 20 years being 3 million to 4 the first year with Craig, 5.2 the second year with Craig's group. And I just passed 3.2 million already this year. It's what, June 17th? So, I mean, it's blowing up thanks to Craig's group. I have to take the action, but these guys really help me to be accountable. But here's the thing. I do not work that much. I work embarrassingly little. These guys have taught me to work smart, to be efficient, to rely on other people to get the job done. You'll hear ADE, automate, delegate, eliminate. I think I've become really good at delegating thanks to these gentlemen and Shannon. It's allowed me to be a better husband, a better father, a better grandfather. My 4 pillars are business, not in any order, business, family, health, and my passion. So these guys have helped me achieve that.
It's amazing. And one of the reasons we're making this video, Bob, is because we have a lot of people who hire a coach and don't use us. And what you've done is you make the most of the connection that you have with your coaches. So you've done the opposite of what most people do. So what mindset did you bring into the coaching relationship that made all the difference in that area?
I don't know when it happened. I mean, I've followed online mentors for a while. I've followed you for probably 10, 12 years. So I've always wanted to be better. I've always wanted to step into a better version of myself. So I think I was predisposed to realize that it's not all about me and I'm hiring people to make me better. I think Steve Jobs said we don't hire people to tell them what to do. We hire them to tell us what to do. And I came
Yep.
in to the coaching with that. Like, I'm going to drop the ego and what I've done has gotten me to where I am, but like I need to level up now and I need people's help. So I'm just very open-minded. The coaches are they're objective eyes that quickly see things I don't see. And I don't I might discuss things to understand things better. I don't question things though. Like they've helped me just level up in every way. So I rely on them to tell me things I don't know because you don't know what you don't know. And that really helps.
So this is a tough question, but what are some of the powerful questions you've learned to ask your coaches, and how have those questions changed everything for you? Or is it a matter of what information have you shared with your coaches that has changed the game for you?
Okay, so I don't have a great answer for that because frankly, I treat the coaches as like therapy and they kind of know everything that's going on in my life. And they tell me what I need to hear. Like I don't really need to ask. There's no like go-to questions. They're like they hear my situation and they're just geniuses at telling me what I need in the moment, what I'm going to need to succeed down the line. I mean, if I needed to sum it up, I'd just be like, what am I not seeing here? But they answer that for me. Like I don't have to ask that. They're just very good at putting me on the right direction already. While we're on that topic though, I will say there was a point where like my coaches are like my big brothers. I don't want to disappoint them. Like it's accountability. When I started slipping up, I noticed myself maybe not sharing all those details and not being honest. And then at one of your masterminds in California, this lady, Andrea, she
Yep.
had this side, like just off the side comment. She was talking about her situation and she said, I figured out how to take off the mask. And that was just like a life changer for me. Like, because I realized that I wasn't being fully honest with Galel, who's like my main one-on-one, because I didn't want to disappoint him. But I had to realize, like, look, nobody's perfect, but you can pursue perfection, but you can't pursue it if you're hiding behind a mask with your coach. So now when I mess up, I'm full honesty. Like these guys know more about me other than my wife, and she doesn't get to hear the entrepreneur stuff because
She doesn't want to
she
probably,
doesn't
right?
necessarily get it. And yeah, I don't want to give her all that. So, but these guys know more about me than anybody, and by being that honest with them, it's really allowed them to know the whole picture and give me the proper guidance and advice and suggestions.
So one of the things that has definitely fostered that is that, the frequency of communication. So what are the weekly routines and rhythms and habits that you have for getting the most out of coaching?
You send an accountability email every Saturday. For those who don't know, it's chock full of tons of great information, but at the end of it is the 10 questions for accountability. I look forward to that so much. I value that part of it so much. I wait for it throughout the week. I think it's question 4. It's what have you learned? So throughout the week, whenever I notice myself learning, having an aha moment, an epiphany, I write it down in my notes because I don't want to forget putting that in the accountability email. But then I answer those emails as honestly as I can. And I have that back usually Saturday, almost always Sunday. I have never missed one. It does not matter where I am in the world. I will be in Ireland next week, thanks to you guys. And I will still answer that because my values don't change, whether I'm on vacation or working, because like I said, it's all pieced together where I'm not working 40 or 60 hours a week like some entrepreneurs. So always hit that accountability email right away. I'll check in with my coaches at least once throughout the week, even if there's nothing I need immediate help with. I just let them know how things are going. If I've faced any struggles, they're always so quick to respond and help me out. And then when I'm facing a bigger challenge, there was a point where I wanted to drop some weight and I was straight up stepping on a scale and sending it to Galel every single morning because it just made me accountable. And so the situations change. I always hit that accountability email every single week, check in once a week. And when I'm facing higher or bigger challenges, it can be every day. They are like, look, just contact us whenever you need us. So I do that as needed.
Absolutely. So years ago, you sent me that message on Instagram asking me about the mastermind that I was holding in Cancun, and you came down to it. When you reached out and you came to that first event, what areas of life or business were you originally looking for the coaching to help you with? And what other unexpected breakthroughs did you have as a result?
The whole reason I reached out to you about the mastermind was because it's funny. The old owner told me, you're going to see it'll be different when you wake up and you're the actual owner. And I was kind of like, whatever. Like, I've ran this place for 15 years. Like, I know what I'm doing. Well, me and him don't always see eye to eye, or didn't always see eye to eye, but he was absolutely right about that. January 1st, 2022, I woke up and laid in my bed like a deer in headlights, like, oh my God, this all relies on me now. So like I said, I went through about a year without any help, just relying on me, built the business a tiny fraction, but just faced so much challenges and anxiety as an entrepreneur and did not have anybody to rely on anywhere. Like nobody understood what I was going through. And the people I tried to talk to, they see me doing well financially and I'm Mr. Moneybags, or I'm so lucky, or, so that's really what I came down there looking for, was to be around like-minded people, to join a group, a mastermind of people that could help me in those areas, because these were challenges that the old owner told me I would have, but I didn't believe it until I lived it. And the lost sleep, the doom loops that I would get into by, comfort eating and maybe pushing myself way into my work with that, oh, I can do everything myself. And not making the proper time for my family. Like I was going down the wrong road, and that wasn't what I thought owning a business was going to be. So that was what I was looking for initially. What I will say was the biggest surprise was how valuable it was just to be in the room with people for networking opportunities, to give yourself the opportunity to find opportunities, to make great friendships. I'm a Gen Xer, so like I'm 47 years old. We were taught to, especially as men, not to be like a victim or anything, but like to take everything and push it down until one day you explode and go on a shooting spree or something. Like I I've become more self-aware since I've joined ETR in the last 2.5 years than I had in the entire 40 years before that. And that was the biggest surprise. Like I didn't realize how much work I actually had to do on myself, on my unhealed inner child, on everything inside of me to really get through the bottlenecks and jump over the hurdles that were going to hold me back forever if I didn't fix that part first. Does that
That's
make
amazing.
sense?
Yeah, totally, and totally amazing. And with the frequency of communication you have with your coaches, and the stuff that you share, I'm imagine that, one day a coach told you something that you didn't want to hear, but you needed to hear. How did you respond to that? What was it that they said, and how did you respond to that?
I think the single biggest thing, I mean, there's probably hundreds of examples because I'm in contact with them the most, but I think the single biggest thing that I can remember hearing and is the reason that I hired this channel manager, which is going to be the small hinge that swings the big door, is I think I was validating why I wasn't taking that next step. I was scared. I didn't want to give up all the control of somebody dealing with my reps. And I was probably making excuses, typing out an accountability email. And Daniel said to me, Bob, I love you. I got to be honest, though, you're playing small ball.
Mhm.
And he called me out on my BS, really, because I was without him or any of the coaches, because I'm sure they all would have said the same thing. He was just the first one to respond. Without that, I could be going 20 years down the line making the same excuses because that's what I had done my entire life until I got coaching and accountability was make excuses. And I have nobody there as the objective set of eyes looking at me and saying like, you're playing small ball. So when he said that, it was like a gut punch, not negatively. Like I said, I've dropped the ego. I want that, but it was like mind blown, like, wow, I had myself so convinced that I was doing the right thing and I was kicking the can down the line. Oh, I'll hire one by the third quarter. And I sat up in front of the room with you and you told me the same thing, like, speed it up. What is stopping you? So I actually had a conversation with my wife that night and I'm like, Daniel said I'm playing small ball and he's absolutely right. And just that one day was a shift in my mentality. And here I am with a guy hired, finding me new reps, following up, doing all the stuff not that I should have been doing, that I shouldn't have been doing, but was telling myself I should be doing. I delegated it to him and it's paying back already. This guy just was hired a month and a half ago, paying back already. So that was the biggest shift the biggest thing I can remember in the last year anyway.
That's amazing. And I'm sure everybody listening to this go, man, this Bob guy, he really pushes, he's a high achiever. But, we all get stuck. So when you hit that plateau or resistance and you go to the coaches, how do you lean into the coach so that you move forward faster? The success of speed, as we say.
Yeah, I think it goes back to when I learned to take off the mask and I'm just as honest as possible. Like I said, these guys know more about me than anything. I realize, that kind of rapport needs to be built, but when you get around the coaches that you have in your program, you realize like these guys, they care. They, I mean, they might have met you for the first time. They don't know you yet. So I'm not going to say they care about you, Right now, they're some of my greatest friends, but they care about doing a good job. They're in this to help people. Like, and so I think the honesty really helps them tell me what I need to hear. Like I said earlier, if I really am plateauing, that's kind of when I realize like I need to contact them more. The more I contact them, the more help I'm going to get, the more plugged in to their message to me I'm going to be. The thing is, like, they're going to see that before I do. So if they see me plateauing or stalling or getting stuck somewhere, they reach out. So all that, like everything I'm saying that maybe I do right, I've kind of outsourced that to them. Like they catch all that stuff before I need to realize it. And that just plays into the success love speed is like maybe it would have taken me 3, 4 weeks to realize that I'm making excuses for myself in whatever endeavor I'm trying. They're going to catch that in a week because they're going to be like, yo, last week you said this was your most important or your second biggest priority of the week, and you haven't made any strides towards that. Like I said, they just, if you can drop the ego with these guys, they'll tell you what you need to hear. And, you know, don't get hurt feelings over it. I hired you guys and built relationships with you guys to push me further. That's what I need.
That's amazing. And so, you've got the business coaching. How has this then gone and expanded beyond it, where the business coaching has helped you become a better husband, father, and leader?
When before you guys, I was working 60 hours a week. I was up at night at 3 in the morning, laying in bed for an hour, thinking about the business, just learning how to let go of that small business mindset. And I'm not a big business. I have 5 employees. I have a huge team. I have a lot of fractional people. We're just not big enough to have our own bookkeeper and accountant. And I have my own service division with like 4 technicians traveling the country, but they're not W-2s. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that was me trying to do so much of that before. And like they've helped me grow that team that now I can delegate all that out to. So again, like I said, I don't know how many real hours I work, at least in that 9 to 5 sense. So I have all this extra time to pursue my other values. So my daughter just graduated high school and they live an hour and 45 minutes away. When I was an employee, I'd be having to take paid time off to go out there for a graduation. Now I plan ahead, but I pick up and leave whenever I want. One of the biggest things I've done, which I actually got from your perfect week formula, is that 7x7 grid. So I use Google Calendar, but like every Sunday when I'm doing the accountability email afterwards, I will schedule everything in that is my value and vision for my life before work. So I'll talk to all the kids, see if there's any time I can go visit them. I try to see the kids once a week. They're all young adults. They have their own thing going on. So it's sometimes like pulling teeth to grab them all at the same time. But I always schedule them in. I schedule in a date night for my wife. I ask her if I need to be anywhere for a family event. That's all put in the calendar. I schedule my workouts for the week. And then I look at the weather and decide what weather forecast today looks the best for me to go out and get into nature. Because I need to be in nature at least once a week, usually more. So that's all scheduled out. And then I schedule in the work.
Just tell the story about how you listened to the Perfect Week formula, so many times on audio before you joined coaching, because, that's the place that I recommend so many people to start. And it's also one of the reasons I tell so many authors to make sure they have the audio book, because it just allowed you to like really absorb the lessons a whole lot more than reading the book once, right?
Yeah. So back when I trained for a few marathons, which, dark side of discipline. But I mean, it was a season of life for me. I had a hip replacement. It was something where I lived in pain my entire life. So once I wasn't living in pain anymore, it was like a bucket list thing. But I would run around through the woods 20 miles listening to your book. I've listened to Perfect Day Formula a few times, Perfect Week Formula. And I think just being immersed in the messages in that book, I realized like it had slowly made me better. But the better I get, this isn't a great quote, but the better I get, the more I can realize how much better I can get. And the wins just stack on each other. So after I had listened to that a few times, like I knew you spoke to me. Like there's business coaches out there. I went to a Hormozy event, and I'm not here to talk smack about that. Like Hormozy's team are great. But when I was there, then, and this is unfair because I was just there for 2 days, but it was very capitalism driven. It was all about money. Nobody discussed their whys. Like, I mean, anybody who follows you realizes like, if you wanted to be a billionaire, Craig, we know you would be a billionaire. But I mean, if I'm gonna look at you, I'm gonna say, all right, this guy just wants to not worry about money the rest of his life because with money taken care of, he can put all of his time and effort into his family, into his kids, into his wife. Like, and you're obviously in shape. Like that's what I wanted. That's why I'm here with you guys. That's why I'll ride and die with you guys because yeah, money's great, but what good is a fat bank account when you're on your deathbed at 55 because you had a heart attack, or because your family never sees you, and that's what I want. I want that. For me, it's the four-prong approach, my passion, family, health, and the business. But so that's why I'm with you guys. Like that message speaks to me.
So, you have had exposure to great coaches, our team, and then other coaches as well. What do you feel is the separation between the great coach and, good coaches? And then how do you maximize that opportunity of being with the great coach?
I've actually had a few coaches along the way. Like I've tried a few fitness coaches. I'm a vegan. Galel he's like, I can help you be accountable for anything. But I really think that you might want to think about getting a vegan coach, fitness coach. I actually went through a few of them, and I'll be honest, they were all awesome. They all spoke the language. They, mindfulness. They knew what they were doing. I think the difference between them and why I jumped around was none of them were half as good as Galel, Gavin, Daniel. And I think the difference was they would let me off the hook. Your coaches aren't mean by any stretch of the imagination, but they don't let me off the hook. The other coaches would validate why maybe I didn't do so well that week. And they would hear my reasoning. And like, I think there's a difference. Like everybody has a reason for doing something, but it's not an excuse. So, but they would hear my reasons and they would be like, okay, well, that's a good excuse. Or maybe they were just trying to keep me on board. I don't know. But like your coaches, they tell me exactly what I need to hear. Like Galel, my one-on-one, we couldn't be more opposite. Like we do share some values, but like, as far as like, I'm a vegan. He is probably a heavy carnivore.
He's made out of steak.
But like that never factors into it. He doesn't put his own set of values on mine. He will stop me in my tracks and say, wait a minute, like you said you wanted this, but your actions are not in line with what you're saying you value. And I think that is the biggest difference is even though we may be different people, they are very like laser focused on what you say and getting to the bottom of what your real why is and what your values are and holding you accountable to that standard.
Yeah. And,
my other coaches didn't do that.
Right. The other coaches were just being friends, but we can be friends and still do the job of a coach, which is to help you achieve your goals. And
that's a perfect way to say it. The other coaches, great friends.
Yeah.
The ETR coaches, some of my best friends, but they're always a coach first. Like like my wife, my best friend, they can't be my coaches. They're always going to let me off the hook. I don't care. My best friend, I hung out with him yesterday. Dude had a 6-pack every day I've known him, like, and he's in his mid-30s now. Like, and he's like, I could easily rely on him to be my fitness coach. But he's not going to hold me accountable. He's going to let me off the hook. He doesn't want to hurt my feelings. Your coaches realize that my feelings aren't going to get hurt, and I'm in this to change.
Absolutely. I love that. And speaking of change, is that you are in this for the long game. And so you are looking for sustainable success. And what role do you feel like having a coach has helped you in that area so that you can continue to be a high performer no matter what happens?
I've always chased achievement. I've always wanted to be better. I had a lot of success in my 20s. I was building a small real estate empire that came crumbling down. I
But you bounce
think,
back from it. You bounce back.
yeah, I bounced back. That was a long road back. I spent way too many years playing the victim, but I finally stepped out of that
Mhm.
and figured that out. And
And
because of
how
that,
did coaching help you step out of that?
I think I chased quick wins before. The
Mhm.
coaches have helped me change habits, no matter how small. Like they've helped me realize how small habit changes can lead up to standards, higher standards. They hold me to standards. I didn't have standards before. It was like, oh, I want to buy this house and make this much rental. And that was a quick win. But why was I doing it? Who was the person I wanted to be? These guys have helped me figure out the standards I want to live by and hold me to those standards, probably starting with habits. And I think part two of that would be, I guess I was just too stubborn for a while, or they'll tell you the message as many times as you need to hear it. Because as you change, you might not be ready to hear it at first, but as you change and grow as a person, eventually you're going to actually hear and embody what they say. And it took me a little bit, but I think from the last fall, what is this? It's June, middle of June now.
Mhm.
Last fall, I had a really big identity shift in a lot of areas in my life, and that was because of them. And they had hammered me on this since the beginning. It was just like finally I was at a point in my growth where I was ready to hear it. That would have never happened without them. And like I think like, I'll keep it fitness. Fitness is easy, like because everybody wants to lose weight. I would set like weight loss goals, and that can be a quick win because I'll do whatever it takes to hit that weight loss goal. But I really change my identity, or am I going to yo-yo right back up to do this again year after year? Gaining and losing weight. They help me shift my identity to like Gavin's really good with helping with this. Like, you don't want the six pack. You want the feeling the six pack's going to give you. You can feel that now. You can be happy now. You don't need to be happy when you hit it. You just need to become the identity of the healthy person. You need to become the identity of, you know, the great husband. You might not actually be at a finish line because finish lines always move, so you need to be happy now. You need to live that as that person now. And I think that's thanks to them. Like I'm 47. I could have died even if I lived to 90 never learning that and always chasing something more, which is good. We want to make progress. Progress is happiness to me too. But like I don't need the $20 million company. I am happy now while in pursuit of it. I'm not going to be happy when I get there. They help me with that identity shift. I'm sure that could be said more eloquently, but yeah.
That's the power is that you're building this empire over the long run. You're building freedom. You're building everything that an entrepreneur starts the business for, and you're committed to it. And to me, that's what sums up Bob Ferguson is that approach. And then allows you to have the freedom to go and do the things that you love to do, which is write books about toads and snakes and chase those things all over the
Yep.
world and fly first class and all that sort of stuff. So what would you say to that entrepreneur who feels like, I don't need a coach to get me to the next level, or even worse, I'm too busy to get coaching? What would you say to those folks?
Those are two red flags because if you're too busy, that's why you need a coach to hold you accountable to delegate some stuff. If they think they're too successful, sports reference, like Michael Jordan needed a coach. Everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs somebody outside of them that's going to pull them forward and help them step into their greatness. I think somebody thinking they don't need a coach is very small business minded and very mom and pop. like a very mom and pop approach. Like, yeah, you could build something that'll give you a good lifestyle, but it's the golden handcuffs. It's the you've created a high paying job for yourself, but that's all it's ever going to be. And I think that's going to limit you. You need a coach to help you transcend that and, become the leader, the visionary, the founder that does nothing but talks to the number two once a month, whatever it is. But you're not going to get that on your own. I think it's small business minded. I think it comes with a scarcity mindset of like, nobody can do this better than me. And look, I've struggled with that. We all do. But a coach will help you overcome that, because you could struggle with that till the day you die and never become as great as you could have become. So I think having a coach helps you get into that abundance mindset. I've seen it. I've seen it with a lot of business owners. The man who owned the business before I bought it, like, he's a success in money, but I think the fact that he thought nobody could do it better than him held him down. Like, we plateaued. When we started, our first year was 580,000, and we hit like 2 million and floated between 2 and 2.5 million for like 15 years. We had one big year of 3 million, but like, that's the scarcity mindset. That's the nobody can do it better than me mindset. Like, that was going to just stay plateaued forever. And I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Like, I got involved with ETR, and I was along for that ride, for that 2.5 million ride. That was on me as well. But when I got the outside help, I realized there's more to this. And here I am, in 3 years, I've doubled the business, and it's going to skyrocket now that I finally stepped forward and started delegating even more this year.
Bob, this has been an amazing conversation. Are there any final words that you want to, or pieces of advice that you want to give to an entrepreneur who's listening to this, thinking about coaching, but is still sitting on the fence?
I'd say read Craig's shirt. That is one of the truest Craigisms there is. Success loves speed. Like, stop sitting on the fence. Just dive in. Like, it's I don't want to say it's worth every penny. It's priceless. It's absolutely priceless. Like, you'll level up in every area of your life you want to level up in, as long as you allow these guys to do the job for you and guide you in line with what your values and vision are for your life. I wish I had did it a year earlier. I wish I could have done it when I wasn't the owner. Again, like, I know ETR is business coaching first and foremost, but like, it's so much more than that. It's so much more. It's made me a better person in every single aspect of my life. And just getting in the room with the other business owners that are there, like, you can't replace that. I've built friendships. I've had conversations where I've implemented one little thing. Here's a great example. You want an example? At these masterminds, Craig will put on your name tag 3 names. And this is Craig's like zone of genius. He connects people. He connects people that need each other in the time, right? So he puts his guy Ian on the back of my thing. And I never met Ian. I think it was Ian's first time he was there.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with him. We're very close on getting an SBA loan that's going to cut out. This sounds ridiculous. So I'm carrying some of these high interest loans. Gavin helped me pull my head out of the sand because things have been going so well for me. He's like, well, what happens when they're not going well? So I've gotten a hold of my finances. This SBA loan is going to save me. And I've dozen checked these numbers, because every time I say it out loud or in my head, I'm like, this can't be right. I'm going to save $17,000 plus a month just because Craig put Ian's name on the back of my name card.
Wow.
That's like $17,000 plus a month. That's how much money I've been burning needlessly in the business. And because you hooked me up with Ian, And I was in the room and had a conversation. Here we are 6 weeks later, and probably 2 weeks from getting this loan done that's going to put $17,000 back into the business and essentially back into my pocket per month. That's priceless.
That's incredible. I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
And then there's the introduction I made between you and Eli's helped you do what?
So Eli is a point specialist, experiential. He's all about like traveling, and if you want to travel, traveling and seeing the world and doing it now, not waiting till you retire. So Eli, I got into his group. Again, another priceless hookup. I've flown to Uganda. Again, a wildlife thing. I know not many people are wanting to go to Uganda, but it was like business class, lay down seats to Uganda, Paris with my wife. These are like $7,000 seats each. I'm flying this Sunday. We're doing an overnighter. Me and my wife, my middle son and his fiance. They're 21. We're going to Ireland. I added up. We got business class, lie down seats overnight. They would have cost me 34, 36,000. One of those numbers, $34,000 for all four. Because I'm in Eli's group, he taught me how to use points. Actually, he didn't even tell me. One of his coaches told me, do this, do this, do this, do this. I didn't even have to learn it. They just told me exactly what to do. We're going there with $141 in fees,
Wow.
and everything else is paid for.
And that's because you're using your business expenses, you're paying them on a credit card, you're generating a ton of miles and points, and then you're transferring that into first class travel, all because of an introduction that was made through the coaching program.
Yeah, and we're staying in Dublin in an autograph collection, like some $800 a room night. I have my own room. My son has his own room for 4 nights. That's all paid through the points too. So like people are like, how the hell are you doing all this? And it's just like, I learned how to work smart, not hard. And that's a hookup. Like I knew people use credit card points for something, but that was something that was way on the back burner and I didn't think I needed. And that's not high priority. But like now I'm having like these life-changing trips because of it. And it's like all that time I could have been doing this, but I'm doing it now.
That's amazing. Doing it now. I mean, I think, success, slow speed, doing it now, getting started, get off the fence. That's what it's all about with the message of coaching. And then use your coach and take advantage so that you can 10x your business and 10x your life. Bob, thank you so much for, having this conversation with me today. It's been absolutely amazing to hear about your success and hear even more details and hear about how the coaches Galel Fajardo, Daniel Woodrum, Gavin McHale, Shannon Logan, and our team have helped you. I really appreciate you, and I'm so excited for your future.
Thanks, Craig, dude. I am so grateful that we've met and that you hired such freaking rock stars. Like, seriously, it's changed every aspect of my life.
Love it. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, Bob Ferguson. Congratulations. And thank you so much for watching this video. And I know that it's inspired you to get off the fence, success loves speed, get the coaching that you need.